Alright, this is going to be another Chainlink video. I want to go over the developments that have happened since the last video I posted, which was almost a month ago at this point. I made a video as soon as Chainlink broke its weekly structure bullishly, and I just went back and rewatched that video at 1.5x speed just to get a refresher on what I was looking at. So I want to go over the developments that have happened since then and how things are looking now. So starting off with the resistance that we ran into. So back when I posted this video, I marked out these two zones as areas of resistance I was interested in. And this one up top was looking a little more interesting, the value area low of what you can call the bull market range, even though it's not really a range. It's kind of like a weird triangle type thing, but either way, the value area of the bull market had the value area low coming in right inside of this weekly order block. And we actually just ran into that weekly order block. I don't know if we actually hit the value area low, but we can check that right now. So when you pull it to this low, we have not hit it yet. When you pull it over to where we broke this low, we have hit it. It's actually a little bit below that block. But either way, we kind of ran into that value area low zone, if you want to call it a zone. And we also did reject off of that weekly order block that I marked out. So we are finding resistance in this area. We're getting a little pullback. And I was also taking a look at weekly market cipher. So on the weekly time frame, this is what I was looking at. Money flow is just crossing into the green. The weekly momentum wave was not close to topping out yet. You know, the VWAP was not close to crossing the zero line. The white part of this wave was widening, showing that it still had more room to the upside. And if we look at what it looks like now, we did get some continuation from this wave. So it was right about here when I was last looking at it. So it did continue to the upside, and the money flow also continued to the upside. Now, where the money flow is at right now, it's pretty hard to tell where it's going from here, right? Money flow can really do anything. It could, maybe stall out and then get a aggressive move to the upside kind of soon. Maybe it kind of stalls out for a while, gets an aggressive move later. Maybe it even prints like a little wave here and comes back into the red for a little bit. It's kind of hard to judge this weekly money flow right now. The only thing I can say is it is starting to curve back in this direction. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to continue curving all the way back down until it crosses back into the red, but it is showing signs of slowing down. Not ideal after just getting a weekly money flow cross, but I mean, you're not going to get straight up, are you? You're probably going to get retracements before continuation anyway, so maybe that's what it's showing. And I was also looking at this weekly RSI, and basically back then, the RSIs were still very spread out, and they were both pointing to the upside, kind of showing that, the move is not done yet, showing that we're probably going to get continuation. And we did get continuation here. But if I turn on the RSIs and take a look at what they look like now, the purple RSI is starting to curve back down into the green one. Actually, they just crossed. You can see that little red line. That RSI just flipped from green to red. So what does this mean? Well, we can take a look at all the times where the RSI started to top out. So, we kind of had these up and then down moves, up, down. You can say we kind of had some up-down moves back here, so mark out all the times where the RSI was topping out. And you can see we typically do get retracements once the RSI starts to curl back over after a move to the upside. So potentially a sign of a retracement coming, the fact that, now the RSIs are close together, and at least the purple one is pointing to the downside now. Not sure if the other one is, but they are kind of starting to curl over, so the RSIs are potentially hinting towards a retracement. Also, back when I made this video, I was looking at the daily time frame, and a few things I noted was, number one, we could potentially have a bear div with momentum here. The momentum wave at the time was lower than the previous one, even though price put in a higher high. So potential bear div there, but the money flow was continuing to put in higher highs. So even if it was a bear div, I wasn't super concerned with it. I'm not super concerned with divs unless it's with momentum and money flow. Those are typically the stronger signs. And if we take a look at the daily now, we never actually got a bear div. I keep clicking on the Bitcoin chart. But yeah, this momentum wave did actually get up above the previous one, and we actually have not had a bear div with momentum or money flow since we've been on this aggressive move to the upside. Momentum has continued to put in higher highs, although very slightly, but the higher highs that the money flow has been putting in have been aggressive. It's been on a very consistent move to the upside here, and it's still looking pretty bullish, I have to say, especially if we kind of get another green dot here. If this VWAP starts to turn around, then we could definitely see continuation from this daily time frame here. Now, maybe we get a little bit of a retracement first. Maybe momentum even comes down to the 0 line, kind of holds that as support. We have seen that before. But just looking at the daily time frame, not looking at any of the lower time frames yet, I have to say this looks pretty bullish. It looks like we may see continuation here. But we can look at the lower time frames and see if they support that theory. So the 4-hour time frame actually is looking like it is starting to turn to the downside. Momentum and money flow have both gotten an aggressive move down, and money flow is actually pretty close to crossing the 0 line now to going into the red. So it looks like potentially the 4 hours hinting towards a retracement. But, maybe we can see this just turn around out of nowhere. Maybe the 0 line holds support for the money flow, and maybe we get a trigger wave here, maybe even a bullish div if we put in a lower low. So let's go to the lower time frames and see if that is possible. So on the 2-hour, I have to say that, if we did put in a lower low and print bullish divergences with momentum, it would not be looking great just for the fact that money flow would probably be putting in a lower low, not diverging, unless we, kind of do something like this where we put in like 2 lower lows and the money flow eventually does kind of start turning to the upside, so we do get a divergence. But if we just see a div with momentum, not money flow, I would probably think that, again, it's just a retracement rather than a reversal of trend. So this local downtrend probably would continue in that case. So, 2-hour kind of is pointing towards a retracement as well, I have to say. And looking at the 1-hour, we just tried to get the money flow back into the green here, but it was not a very hard fought battle. We, pretty much gave up immediately, and now money flow is turning back into the red after seeing momentum and money flow take a serious turn to the downside. So even though we did see money flow come into the red and turn back to the upside, we pretty much immediately fell back into the red, and that's not a great sign. So I'm not really seeing anything that is hinting towards a higher low being in here, I have to say. It looks like overall we may see a bit of a retracement. And looking at the 30-minute as well, money flow continuing to put in lower lows on the red. Not compared to back here, but it's pretty much just straight shooting down after getting this little move back into the green. So, yeah, I have to say, even though the daily is looking bullish, it looks like we could potentially get continuation here if things start to turn around. The lower to medium-term time frames are really not backing that up at this point. That could change, but yeah, I'm not seeing anything on these time frames that are hinting towards the daily, definitely kind of printing a higher low, at least right here. Maybe we still could, but it looks like we could potentially get that retracement that I was looking for down to some of the key support that we have below us. And I think it would actually be best if we do retrace from here rather than continuing higher at this point, because I think if we break this order block and basically break above this last high over here, I think it'd be pretty easy to get a move up to like this area, just because we have an inefficiency here. This was like a 1 candle down move, and we never came back up to fill that area. So we do have an inefficiency in this zone, and if I turn on this folder, the point of control of this value area is right up around that area. We also have like increasing volume as we work our way up there, and there's kind of like a volumeless void right where that inefficiency is, which makes sense, why we kind of formed an inefficiency there. So basically, I think if we don't retrace from here and get that move down to the support, then, we're probably just going to straight shoot up and at least start filling some of this inefficiency up here, which I don't think it'd be a bad thing if we continue to the upside here, but you have to keep in mind that we probably will retrace all of this move at some point, because this has pretty much been inefficient price action on the higher time frames, and I think it makes sense to fill this area before actually getting a continued move to the upside to like challenge its previous highs. So I would kind of like it if we could retrace before filling this inefficiency, because if we leave this up here and we get a move down, then there is still reason to come to the upside. We have inefficiency to fill above us, so that would be kind of like an added confluence to this long idea. And yeah, ultimately I think it would be better if we held off on breaking back into the value area of this range until we can fill this inefficient price action, because then we don't have as many reasons to come back to this zone, and there's probably a better chance that we stay in this value area. And the support zones I'm looking at are still the exact same. I would like to see either a retest of this break a structure line, basically the highs, or I would like to see a retest of the value area high of this range, where we also have this little price action support zone. So yeah, I would like to see either the high of the range or the value area high of this range hold. That would be ideal if we could bounce from one of those two areas rather than breaking back into this value area, because at that point we're probably going to hang around here for a little bit. And just quickly going back to the lower time frames again, we did see evidence of a potential retracement coming, so that is one scenario I'd be looking out for. And looking at market structure, I'd say if we lose this low right here, then there's a pretty good chance that we will start this retracement. If we break structure after rejecting from this key area, there's a pretty good likelihood that we will start filling that inefficiency and basically grabbing this liquidity that is down here. All right, well, I think that's everything I wanted to go over. Thank you all for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, leaving a comment. All of that helps to support my channel, and I really appreciate you guys for doing that. And I will see you all in the next one.